Balance Catamarans is extremely honored that Patrick Shaughnessy, president since 2008 of the esteemed Farr Yacht Design based in Annapolis, Maryland, has elected to purchase a Balance Catamaran. Farr Yacht Design holds the most decorated winning sailing record compiled by a single group worldwide, with over 18,000 yachts in the water today. Its yachts measure from 25 feet to 125 feet and have been represented by teams in the Volvo Ocean Race, America's Cup, Vendée Globe, Sydney Hobart Yacht Race, Barcelona World Race, Trans-Jacques Vabre, Copa del Rey, and many, many others. Patrick himself has crewed in high-profile races all over the world. He is both a talented sailor and a gifted designer. In this interview, hosted by esteemed yachting reporter Herb McCormack, former editor-in-chief of Cruising World magazine, and a strong sailor himself, having logged over 75,000 nautical miles in his career, we take a look at what went into making the decision to settle on the brand new Balance 464.
Hi, my name's Herb McCormack. I'm a yachting writer based in Newport, Rhode Island, and the editor-at-large for Cruising World, Sailing World, and Yachting magazines. And it's my pleasure today to talk to Patrick Shaughnessy, who is the president of Farr Yacht Design, about cruising catamarans in general, and more specifically, about the new Balance 464 that he's commissioned. Patrick, it's great to see you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here with you.
Mate, tell me a little bit, I know you're an Annapolis man. Tell me about your early days in Annapolis and your background in sailing.
Right, so I was born in Annapolis, one of the few local people in Annapolis, as most people are transient. Mom says I was the last baby born at the Naval Academy, so a bit of notoriety there. Grown up and been there aside from some family travels, but primarily been in Annapolis my whole life. I started at Farr Yacht Design in 1990 and sort of been able to spend my career working in Annapolis and designing and being around boats, which has been a blast.
So you've seen the whole progression then of yacht design from actual drafting on the drafting board to computer-aided design. Talk about how your profession has changed over that time.
Yeah, I think I was really fortunate to start when I did. We had an open room full of natural light and people at drafting boards, all pen and ink drawing, and it was a very artistic field. Yacht design was really experiencing a growth of science and technology, and we've gone from small-scale tank testing to large-scale tank testing to fully CFD developed projects and supercomputers and cloud-based computing, and so we've covered a lot of ground in a relatively short period of time. So it's been a fantastic opportunity really to see it from all sides. Yeah.
And you guys have obviously been players in some of the biggest events of this period: America's Cup, Volvo Ocean Races. Talk about some of the specific events that you guys have been involved with.
I guess from the '87 Cup, Farr Yacht Design's been involved in almost every America's Cup cycle, almost every Whitbread Volvo race cycle, Vendée Globes, all sorts of world championships, one design classes. But alongside that, we also try to balance a design portfolio where we have a fair amount of work in super yachts, a large amount of work in mass production boats. So we try to manage a really balanced portfolio of design projects.
I understand this is your first cruising boat that you've commissioned, is that correct?
Yeah, so my wife Gisela and I are looking forward to a bit of a lifestyle change. So we're looking forward to retirement and full-time cruising. And up until now, our focus has been very work-related, but also on the sailing side, our focus has been small boat racing, and the odd boat usage. And outside of that, we've been trying to build a sort of a better portfolio of expedition style sailing. So the cruising we have done has been, with other professionals cruising high latitudes. And so for us, it's going to be a pretty big change, big learning opportunity.
The big question I have for you is, obviously Farr Yacht Design is well known for its monohulls, and then for a cruising boat, your own personal boat, you've chosen a catamaran. Tell me about what the thought process was going into that.
So in a work capacity, we recognize the need to branch into some different markets, and so we consciously made decisions to work into powerboat design and work into multi-hull design. And we have a small range of multi-hull projects we've been involved in. But for us personally, for Gizi and I, when we looked at what kind of platform we wanted to use for cruising, when we sort of list all those things out, it becomes quite obvious that a catamaran's the right project for us. And that's because I think largely the catamaran style cruising, the lifestyle where your living space is up high and you can see the environment, to be part of the environment, is pretty nice, but also the separation of owners from guests, that you sort of can have your own spaces in the two different hulls, is nice. And then the accessibility to the water, being able to just get off a transom and get into the water, carry the toys you need to carry to enjoy that, all seems pretty clear to me that that's the right choice for us.
So there's several obviously popular catamaran builders. The French and South Africans seem to have cornered the market on really good performance cruising catamarans. What other boats were you looking at besides Balance, or were you looking at other boats besides Balance?
Yeah, we looked around in the marketplace a little bit and sort of just obviously developed this over a number of years looking around. And when backing up a little bit, I had the opportunity to work with Anton, the designer for Balance, across some other projects in the past. And so I knew him, and I know the boat building industry in South Africa. And so when the first renderings came out for what was then the 442, becoming the 464, I immediately wrote to Anton and said, this boat looks like it fits the bill pretty well for us. How long until there are actual customers, and where do we fit? And so the reason we were attracted to the boat conceptually is that we were looking for a reasonably high performance cruising cat that could still feel like home to us, which is a sort of a fine balance. But we wanted a boat that would be able to sail on all points of sail, so it had to have dagger boards, reasonable sail areas so that we could make passages like out in the Pacific to French Polynesia, but also with some livability things. It was really important for us to have an island-style bed so that the bed was accessible, to have headroom in the boat. For me, it's 6'4", that's pretty important, to have galley up, these kind of things. And when you combine all those things, there really aren't a lot of other choices. These are boats that we can imagine ourselves living in. They have a really top-level finish about them, so they look like much more high-level custom boats, but at an accessibility where it made sense for us. And yeah, we're super excited about the boat, really.
And what are your plans for the boat? Do you envision yourself going off and taking a long sabbatical, or are you going to work up and down the East Coast? Where are you going to go on your boat?
The plan for us is to sail back from Cape Town, stopping and then the usual St. Helena, Fernando, and then getting to Grenada. I guess in Grenada you spend some time there getting your boat sorted out after you've had a pretty good passage. And then we'd probably spend some time, up and down the East Coast Caribbean until we feel like we're pretty well dialed in. And then the plan is to go west out through Panama and get to French Polynesia and kind of see where that takes us. And it doesn't have any timeline, and it doesn't have any hard points. I've just personally, I've spent so much time dreaming of sailing in French Polynesia that that's kind of where I need to get to,
I've been involved with the Caribbean Multi-Hull Challenge for a few years, and of course Balance was down there a couple of years ago. You have a boat that you can race, and you have a racing background. Do you plan any competitive events with the boat?
I don't think so, but anytime two boats get next to each other, they're racing. So I'm cognizant of that, but also we wouldn't say no to something if it was going the same direction we wanted to go, or something like that. But it isn't. We don't have any racing goals. I think probably in passage making, we might sail the boat maybe more aggressively than some people might. And some of that's maybe from the technical background of understanding how the boat wants to operate or so, but we don't have any racing goals specifically, no.
I love your plan of going into the South Pacific. Do you have any, in your own mind's eye, do you have a certain place or anchorage and just sort of kicking back in the islands that you kind of envision as you're going through this project?
Yeah, I think, you can spend, 2 years there before you're forced to officially import your boat. And I think you'd spend every bit of 2 years there. I can't imagine a better place to be. So we'll try to spend the 2 years as wisely as we can, I guess, out there and take in as much as we can.
It sounds like a great plan, mate. I wish you all the best. Good luck, Patrick.
Thank you very much.